to Cape Palmas, mountain back to Atlantic Ocean, upon me hills to Pocondre, to educate, elevate, and promote. Yeah, focus on Liberia, for Liberia, Liberia, for Liberia, yeah. From Monday to Sunday, from Monday to Sunday, it's focus on Liberia. Talk about home affairs, in diaspora, current affairs, reliable information, history, talking about culture, politics, education, entertainment, business, sports, advertisement, articulation. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. Focus on Liberia. From Monday.
At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jack.
And I am Anthony Seed. Plus, and welcome to Focus on Liberia. It's Friday, and it's Friday night debate here at Focus on Liberia. We have serious issues to debate. I have two outstanding debaters seated and ready to go into the debate. We want to take this time to welcome our viewers, those watching us via Facebook and YouTube. We want to say welcome and do us a favor by sharing the broadcast with somebody in your contact. It is about time to debate the issues, to bring clarity to the issues, and to also sharpen the contradictions the young guys, they call themselves intellectuals, will say in Liberia. But hey, talking about sharpening the contradictions, I have two profound debaters who can sharpen the contradiction like no other. Seated and ready to go is the veteran himself, J. Victor Namwe. Mr. Namwe, welcome to Friday Night Debate. How you doing, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Seed. I'm doing great. Thanks for having me here, and I hope you're doing well as well. Let me also say hi to our viewing audience, and thanks for joining us. Please share the show. What's up, Dr. Pearson?
I'm good, sir.
Also seated and ready for the debate is our new progressive commentator, my good friend, Dr. Clarence R. Pearson. He's here to sharpen the contradictions and bring clarity to the issues. Dad, welcome. How you doing?
Thank you, Mr. C. It's a pleasure being on the show tonight, the Friday night debate. I want to say hi to my fellow panelists, Mr. Namwe, and viewers and listeners out there, fellow Liberians. It's a pleasure to be discussing the issues of Liberia. Thank you.
All right. For the issue on the menu, number one, we have LACC pushing for specialized corruption court. The LACC is saying the tools that it has in its possession, not enough. They want a court where they can just investigate somebody and go for trial in their own courts. They believe that will make it easier and faster to hold people who are in this habit of abusing power, corruption is the favorite word, accountable in the shortest possible time. How will that make any difference? The debaters are here. Also on the menu, government withholds salary for non-compliance and diverts it to something else. The government of Mr. Joseph Yamambwaka, has withheld salary from appointees in government for failing to declare their asset. Remember, the president himself fought on this. He did not declare his asset as required by law, so he was in violation, like the very people he's trying to withhold their salary for not doing the same thing he did. Where's the fairness? And it's also legal, it says a good thing to do to say, hey, because you didn't declare your asset, we're going to withhold your salary. Some people are thinking otherwise. That's the second issue on the menu. Also, any deterrent from investigation and actions against accused officials. People have been investigated. Some of them be suspended. Has any of these things deter people from engaging in acts of corruption and abuse of power? Every other day there is reports about corruption going on. Yet we're getting suspensions, yet there are investigations. Are the investigations amounting to anything anyway? The other time we had investigation at the LDEA. The two senior officials there were, dismissed by the president after being suspended for some time. But at that very LDEA, another case of corruption. So what did the suspension do anyway? What did the dismissal do anyway? These are the issues we want to look into. And we also want to look at Supreme Court rejects petition to halt government action. The government of Liberia, through the Liberian National Police, decided to restrict motorcyclists from entering certain parts of the city of Monrovia. Those guys said, hey, this is not right. We are Liberian citizens. We are contributing to the economy. So we should be free as citizens of Liberia, guarantee under the Constitution, freedom of movement. We should be able to go anywhere. The speaker is taking his car to Central Monrovia, and I cannot take my keke. Is he more human being there, or he's more Liberian than I am? This is not fair. We're going to court. But the court said, no, we're not going to allow you to just go anywhere with your motorbike, because what? The debaters are here. They will bring clarity to the issues. Mr. Namwe, these are very serious issues. I want to get your first impression about these topics. You think these topics are worthy of a serious debate so far?
Absolutely. I think they're pretty worthy. If we have time, I hope we will take a stab at the impending ECOWAS visit as well to help break the impasse right now that is existing at the Capitol building. But notwithstanding, I think these are worthy topics, and I'm glad to see that our silent panelist has already taken the first shot. He said all of what you said is falsehood, but it's going to be a good night.
It got to be a good night. Dr. Pearson, your impression on these topics and anything you want us to just slip in there. You being a teacher and Mr. Namwe being a teacher. Myself, I was a teacher. I graduated from the MCSS system. The MCSS teachers are not happy. Go slow right now is in action. Unmute, sir. Unmute.
Thank you, Mr. Sear, for the introduction of the topics. I think from all indications, these topics speak to the larger issues of governance in our country. And when you listen to the topics, it tells you that we're not doing much to be innovative and creative in how we go about the governance of our country. We're complacent with doing things the old way and thinking that it will get better if we keep doing the same thing we did last 10 years, 15 years, and hoping that it will just change overnight. No, we have to be creative. We have to be innovative. We got to come with new ideas. Until we do that, as the conversation will show tonight, we're going nowhere. Nowhere.
And we do not want to be going nowhere. We want to be going somewhere. This is what the debate is all about. How do we get somewhere? Understanding the issues. So on the menu, we have our first issue. LACC pushing for specialized court. The LACC is saying we need our own court. The courts that we have, they are very slow. And so we need one of our own so that we can be able to prosecute these cases of corruption in a very speedier manner, to bring justice where justice needed, and also to bring about accountability, and if possible, be able to recover some funds. Gentlemen, talking about that, the first question I have for you as debaters on this topic: what are the potential benefits and risk of establishing a specialized court to tackle systemic issues of governance and accountability in Liberia? In short, do we need it? Does the LACC need a specialized court in order to be effective at its job? That is the question. And what would be the benefit and what would be the drawbacks as well on any source code that they are requesting? Dr. Pearson, you go first.
So, Anthony, thank you for the question. Let us look at the bigger picture here. We do understand that we are engaged in the formation of the War and Economic Crimes Court, which of course is going to be resource straining upon the country. And then we have in mind to do asset recovery, which also will have to do with some form of litigation if anyone is found culpable of corrupting the country in one way or the other financially in our resources. And then we have the Anti-Corruption Commission. If you've been following, if any of our viewers been following, one of the things that we've been concerned about on this platform is the fact that we have a bloated government and we have duplication of so many things in our country, so that we got 4 or 5 institutions doing similar things. So I think we should be very careful here with the call for a special court being created. How can we merge all of those litigation needs outside of our regular judicial processes, so that a court that we're going to establish by law will serve or service both economic crimes, asset recovery cases, and the issue that has to do with anti-corruption. Let us not forget that the anti-corruption report just showed that they have logged about 24 cases that they need to prosecute. In the report I just saw today, they mentioned that they have proceeded with 6 cases already. They have successfully executed 2, and they got convictions with LACC versus the Planned Parenthood Association. They got a victory there. They got a victory against the Global Bank, and they got 1 case with a hen juror with the LRC, and then they got 3 active cases that are already ongoing with LACC and the FIA, LACC and the LEGIS, LACC and the MCHT, which is the Margibi County Health Team. So, and there are still more things that they need to do. So I can see why we need a court. I know there's a bill that is under consideration, Mr. CA, and they are calling on the legislature to see how best we can push that bill for the establishment of a court. But I would say put a pause on it and see if they can collaborate with those who are working for the Economic Crimes Court, and collaborate with the guys who are doing the asset recovery. And let's see how we can get a one-shot in or kind of a situation to prevent us from having duplication of the same things across the country.
So just to be clear, Dr. Pearson, are you for a specialized court to be owned and operated by the LACC or not?
So this is how it works, Anthony. It's not that the LACC is going to have a court all to itself, but within the judicial system, the Supreme Court, along with the in collaboration with the legislature and the executive branch, will decide having a court that is dedicated to corruption cases. Judges and lawyers and defense lawyers. Sometimes you need pro bono lawyers because some guys will be pleading. They don't have the resources to hire lawyers and all the kind of things. They need resources for research and all the kind of things. So such a court is going to be established under our current judicial system, and then it's just going to give focus onto corruption cases so that they don't have to wait in line with other like criminal code A or criminal code C or whatever the case is, who already have a lot of cases on their docket.
Thank
you.
So
yes, I'm in favor of it because it's going to help us to streamline corruption cases, whichever way it comes from.
So in short, they are asking for a court that would be set aside exclusively to look into corruption cases, so that with their prosecutorial power, they can run to that court and say, look, we have sufficient evidence here against the individual who has engaged in significant corruption, and the trial or will be done speedier. Is that what it is?
Right, that is correct.
All right. Victor Namwe, does the LACC have an argument here that, look, I think a special law court set aside for corruption is the way to go, and that the way things are set up now, the fact that we don't have one specifically and exclusively, set aside to in a speedier manner investigate corruption cases is slowing progress here. You think they have an argument without even cut in and make any difference whatsoever?
Well, I mean, if the argument they're making is that the absence of a specifically dedicated court to prosecute their cases kind of delaying their cases and they're backlogged, that would make sense. But I'm not sure if this is the argument they're making, because I don't see, they haven't convinced me that they are moving with every speed necessary to prosecute these cases. And then what many people are observing is the haphazard manner in which they are conducting their affairs. They seem to be, taking their cases off the social media and stuff like that. But and also I agree with Dr. Pearson. I think if we have to do that, which makes sense, if there is a court that is specifically dedicated to prosecuting the cases, I think the shorter the hoops that they have to go through to bring their cases to court, I think the less likelihood of interference into these cases. So that way, I think it makes a lot of sense. And also, it will also speed up the prosecution of the cases. But I'm not sure if that's the argument they're making. They can't just tell us they want a special court because they want a special court. You got to convince us why. I don't see them really convincing me yet. But we also want to be careful. The point to Dr. Pearson's point. Bloating this government is a problem. We're trying to advise in the best way possible to shrink the size of government. And so if the creation of a specialized court would mean erecting an entirely brand new infrastructure of government, I think that is a problem. I think we should avoid doing that. If we can manage, to take here and put here and take here and put here, if there are, for instance, some county attorneys or whatever they would call them, who may not be, too engaged, and if we redeploying them so that they devote all of their time with research and prosecuting these cases, yes, that would be a welcome idea. But we want to make sure we're not, erecting new structures, just for the purpose of this. But I do agree with this. I think it makes a lot of sense if we can find a way, if we can find a way to put together a team that will specifically be, dedicated to these cases. I think these cases, they require enormous, research and planning and preparation before they go to court. So I think they shouldn't be given to people on a part-time basis. And so in that sense, yes. But I am not sure if this is what is withholding the LACC or is what is stalling the progress. I'm not sure. I mean, it doesn't seem to me, because some of the stuff we see them, mistakes they're making, putting people on the list who have been cleared and leaving out people who have not been cleared. I think that has nothing to do with the court. I think what many people are concerned with is, I don't want to say, lack of professional, but it just seems to people, to the outsiders, that they need to tighten their execution, and I think if they do so, I think they will move a little faster. But I think Dr. Pearson gave the number. I sounded to me like 24 out of those. I think 5 or 6 or so. I'm not sure. I pretty and they've been in existence for over a year now. I don't understand. Maybe
Mr. I'm not cutting you up. This LACC that we have, I'm not talking about just this one on this administration. Is there any public record report from them citing how much money the LACC has recovered since it was established? Do we know?
I haven't really paid attention to that. If there is, I'm sure we'll find it. But I would be a little surprised if they make if they make such records available. So I don't know. The short answer is I don't know, and that's because I haven't given that much thought. Maybe Dr. Pearson has, but
What I'm seeing here, Mr. Namwe, is the LACC is asking for more and doing less. They are asking for funding. They're receiving significant funding, in my judgment. All right, and I don't see any report from them as to how much money they have been able to recover. Now they have asked for prosecutorial power that has been given to them. Now they're asking for a court should be set aside where they can go and hold people accountable. Do they need court to be set aside for corruption before they can be effective at what they are doing? Other anti-corruption institutions, they're doing better than them. For example, Sierra Leone ACC, all right, has been able to recover about 80 billion leon since I think they started operation, especially under the Manabio administration. Very recently, they were able to recover about 34.8 billion old leons, all right, stuck somewhere, and they were able to recover it. I don't see where this anti-corruption commission is making these kind of gains, and and then we don't know. So
well,
it said that what they don't have, or it said that they just don't have it in them.
And that's a good point you're making, and I hope this does not necessarily mean that they're requiring additional funding just to set up this court. So maybe they have the personnel and the space, and I think they just need the legal authorization, which I understand can only be done by the Supreme Court, and I think the legislature. I think they have the powers to erect courts. So I hope this is what they are pushing for, to be given the full authority. I mean, now that they have prosecutorial powers, so they have the powers to investigate and prosecute. So it seems to me they're just looking for the formal nomenclature to name whatever they will erect as a dedicated, LACC, corruption prosecution court. That would be my assumption.
So finally, what is your overall grade in terms of performance? If you look at what they've been given to work, the space, the opportunity to be given to fight corruption being a serious issue in our country. The other time you were assigned they were trophy for even releasing a list of cases, It's like the team won just say beautiful, you say, wow. I get them they were trophy, they just say correct. But
right.
So on a serious note, what do you have for them?
If I must be generous, I would probably give them a C- at this level. Because I think they're trying, but I think they can do a lot more than they're doing now. And
why are you assigning that C- to them as their letter grade?
Well, because they managed to brought some cases, I believe and again, I don't know. We're still unpacking their recent release, where they established several columns, and some of the columns they call the cases completed, and some of the cases labeled completed are on their way to court. And so that's a little confusing. If the case is completed, why is it still going to court? But I think they have been able to clear some people. So for that reason, I think they're doing something. I mean, as compared to the asset recovery, which I believe, I have to see a report. But ever since they went after Gracious Right, I haven't seen anything else from them. And so I think they're doing a little bit. And for that, I will give them a C-.
All right. And finally, Dr. Pearson, what you make up the performance of our LACC, if you square that with the Anti-Corruption Commission in Sierra Leone that continue to release reports of funds being recovered. I think I read the numbers to you, a total of 80 billion oleums have been recovered so far.
Yes, Anthony, I think that's a good point that you raised. But when I hear Mr. Nangwe trying to get a more a reason to believe why we need a specialized court for prosecuting corruption, let us take into consideration that we have a long backlog. We have a serious backlog of criminal cases in Liberia that has not been prosecuted for a long time, where a lot of people are being held in Assault Beach there without trial, for a very long time. The last time I heard President Baka had to release some people, because they were overstayed in the prisons without trial. So I think our judicial system is overburdened already. So in addition to all of what we have going on, it makes sense to have a specialized court. Just that, like Mr. Nangwe said, and we said earlier, let us be strategic about it, so that we don't duplicate too many courts when we can have one court that will serve the same purpose. But again, Anthony, we have a very poor communication system in our country, and that's one of the things that have hurt us a lot in Liberia. We don't communicate what we do. In 2022, you can go and look it up. I may be under or over the estimate. But the LACC did report that they recover over $32 million in restitution from individuals. How did they propagate it or communicate it out to the population to give them some boost in their morale? That's another thing altogether. But if you compare that $32 million that they retrieve in restitution, which means probably cases that is settled without having to go to court, people just decide to pay back what they took and stuff like that, then I think they made some progress there, considering the weak political will we have in the country. And let us not forget the LACC budget from the last time I checked, 2 years running now, it has been less than $3 million. I think their budget is around $2 million annually. So they've been underfunded for the kind of work that they have to do, looking at the critical work to do. And in addition to that, again, they serve to prevent corruption. So that in itself may not come with a financial estimate in terms of restitution, but it comes in line with what we are able to save from being stolen. So they're more perspective to the importance of their work than just the physical cash that is returned.
Yep, you are right that the Anti-Corruption Commission of Liberia has recovered funds since its establishment. For example, between August and December of recent year, the LACC recovered approximately 32.8 million Liberian dollars, around 200,000 USD in stolen public funds. So, Mr. Nambe, what they've been able to recover so far is about 200,000 US dollars. In Liberian dollars is 32.8 million Liberian dollars. Now, if you square that with Sierra Leone has been able to recover 80 billion leon. That is what Sierra Leone has been able to recover. I don't know the US dollar equivalent. I don't even know the rate there. But more than likely, it might be about the same. But I think Sierra Leone might have done much, much better than our LACC. It's good that when they made this kind of game, no matter how small it is, it should be communicated to boost the morale so that they can get, the support from the citizens, so that we can have reasons why they need to be giving more money. But I don't see that happening. Or yet we're giving extension for people, to file, to declare their assets. All right, gentlemen, we will go to the next issue on the menu here. We are talking about government withholds salary for non-compliance and diverts to something else. The government of Liberia decided that those who fail to declare their asset, they're going to withhold their salary, and that money they're withholding from them, they are diverting it to something else. That is one child, one chair. That is the program the government came up with. The government said, well, we have this program, or maybe they're trying to set up this program. We're looking for money to fund that project. Now the money we are withholding from these government officials who fail to declare their assets, the CSA boss, was the one who was quick on his feet to say, look, if these people are suspended and not going to work, then we're going to withhold their salary. And later on, the president jumps on it, and the president says, okay, that means this is a good thing. We're going to withhold the salary. The question here is, Mr. Namwe, is there any problem with this, or this is a very smart move here? Is this government trying to think out of the box here, trying to find money to fund what is a very significant project here? What's your read?
So I don't want to give another Did Well trophy, so I'll be very careful tonight.
No, you're more than welcome to do it. Some people can change their profile picture around here. So go ahead.
Before I move on, let me caution our friend Wallo. He should be thanking you. He says we're doing poor analysis on the last tab page. What was the funding of this current LACC compared to Sierra Leone's? He should be thankful that you're not bearing this government's lack of support to integrate the institution, because we could go there. We could go there and talk about how these institutions are being underfunded and handicapped. They have their hands tied behind them. They have working with pretty much nothing, and we're leaving it there. He should thank you. If you check, of course, I'm almost certain that will be the case, that these people are underfunded. But coming back to the current issue at hand, I'm not sure, Anthony, whether what the government is doing is lawful. Somebody works for their money, you got to pay them. I think what would have been lawful, which actually is prescribed in the code of conduct, is that these people should be suspended. The law says you should declare your asset prior to taking over, or not more than 30 days after you've taken office. So he appointed these people. Some of these people he nominated, and then they went through confirmation and all of that from January to November. He gave them 10 days in November, and they told him, "My man, go sit down there. Who got time for what you're saying?" He sat down again until February. That's another 6 months before he finally found his spine to get upset, and now he's overdoing it. I think he got overvexed. I don't think they're taking these people money is the right way to do it. If they work, you allow them to work without declaring their asset, then pay them. But the law says you should suspend them, and I think that's what they should do. So I think expropriating these people pay and sending it to do one child, one chair is a good project. But I'm not sure if he has the legal authority to do so. I don't think this is the right move. And I won't be surprised if these people go to court and demand to be paid. So this whole asset declaration and liability declaration, I just think it's a feeling issue for this government, because I think they themselves, they started it on the wrong foot. The president himself took office in January. He did not declare until June. Why? What was he doing the whole time? Because as a leader, you lead by example, and then the people will follow you. So he did not declare until June, and partially declared. We don't know his full asset, and now he's getting upset because these people are doing exactly what he did. How is he not getting advanced with him? So he should suspend himself first and take his pay and go and make more chairs. And that would be probably, the right thing to do. But I'm not sure what they're doing is legal. You cannot have somebody work. They pay their way, they do all of that and go to work and work for a month. And then you tell them, okay, because you did not declare a salary, I'm going to take your pay and give it to somebody. I don't think it's legal. And I think it's wrong.
Dr. Pearson?
Yeah, Anthony. Before I comment on the issue with the whole pay stuff, I just want to buttress what Mr. Nangwe said earlier about the funding for those anti-corruption bodies. So I know for a fact that Liberia has around $2 million annually in our annual budget for the support of the LACC, and I know that Ghana has about $7 million for the support of their own anti-corruption campaign they had a couple of years back in terms of annual support at the time. And way back in 2020, because documents are scanty, Sierra Leone received less than $1 million. So there's a disparity in how these institutions are funded based on the political will of the person in charge or in the country at the time. So, when it comes to the whole suspension thing, I'm not a lawyer, so I want to make a disclaimer on there. But let me say this, right? I don't think if a person works, whether it's 2 days or 3 days or 4 days, that you can just dismiss them without paying them for the hours they've worked or for the days that they've worked. The effect of the deduction to the pay should be as of the day you suspended them or dismissed them, whatever the case is. But once they've clocked in those hours or they've executed those days, it's illegal. I think it is against the contract that you signed with them to not pay them for the hours that they've worked. So I'm not sure what is the calculation of the time.
Withholding their salary for the time suspended and not working.
So then it's legal, because if again, that's what I'm saying. Liberia is a very funny country. Josiah, Mr. C. Liberia is a very funny country. I've been there for all the days of my life. People, when they are in power, they assume that they can do anything to you, and you cannot get any recourse, whether you like it or not. And I can say for a fact that the withholding of some of the guys paid is not because they did not do the work, but because someone feel they have power and they can hold their money. And trust me, some of the people who money they're holding on account of they are not declaring the assets, some of them may have justifiable reasons why they could not even declare the assets. Probably the LACC did not have a point of contact for them to deliver the documents in time. Take for instance, they had to reach communities. And don't forget, President Boyka took office just before the rainy season, and transportation, other things, some other villages and towns of our chiefs and elders is not something that you can just easily meet a specialized entity, concerning. So I think he was too hasty in that decision. If you ask me, I don't think they had time to even investigate further, especially with some people saying that they already submitted their asset recovery forms, and the forms were not reflected in the listing that was on the list that the presidents were acting upon. And if you can recall, Mr. C, yes, indeed, the list that the president acted upon was commented upon by the LACC and said that, listen, this list is not up to date. Give us a chance to bring this list up to date. And that's just one aspect of the complications in the entire process that could have been investigated on the whole declaration. I'm not giving any excuse for anyone who did not declare the assets, but I think for a country like Liberia, we should have some means of access and availability of those LACC guys to make the process seamless for appointees across the country.
Dr. Pearson, this is 2025. The government started work 2024 in January. And so most of the officials have had over 6 months, some of them 8 months, some of them 9 months, some of them 10 months, 11 months, depending on when they were appointed. All right. And this is the second year of this administration. You want to tell me because that person is inside, they can't declare their asset. We're talking about some people may not be able to get to the LACC. I mean, are you suggesting the in-grant crew and they can't get to LACC? So why LACC could not even get to them as well?
I was fortunate, Anthony, to serve Liberia at one point in time where I was involved in leading decentralization of one of our public health program in Liberia. And I had the opportunity to have gone throughout the 15 counties of Liberia into some very remote areas to hold meetings and conferences with health workers, towns and town chiefs and paramount chiefs and stuff like that. Anthony, trust me, there are some places in Liberia is totally inaccessible to central government. And even if you try to get there, you need 4-wheel jeep, the one that the UN and other guys will use. And even the government institutions that they have there that are helping to decentralize governance, some of them don't even get to Central Monrovia over 6 months, 8 months, or 10 months. Some of them whole year, nobody see Montserrat County. And that's how bad it is in Liberia. So it sounds simple. That's why I think one of my friends, one of our panelists our economists say the other day, that majority of the people money here they withheld, it probably will be those in the remote areas that are hard to reach, that the LACC could not get to, and they could not get to LACC in time to make those submissions. So I won't be surprised Like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses here, but I know the condition, the context of our country right now. We are backwards, Anthony.
Mr. Namwe, the list was released. Most of the appointees that we are talking about, one can argue that about 90% might be in Moravia. If not, those who are not in Moravia, those are people who are mobile enough to get to Moravia to do their assets, all right, to declare them. So I don't really want to entertain this level of excuse as I see it, right? If you go through the list, those are people, most of the ministries are in Moravia, and agencies are in Moravia. All right, and the heads and deputies are the ones, for the most part, who on the list and be suspended here. So I don't think that people who are based in the counties and that can't actually reach. I mean, if it's superintendent, they all have cars, they can get to Moravia easily. Is there a county you know that has a capital and no one cannot come from there to come to Moravia? Even my grand crew, people can come from there and come to Moravia. So this is
and I think this is what you were lamenting earlier should do for us. That reporting, the report should tell us, what the process is, what has happened. But if you remember here, right on this network, when this pronouncement was made by the president, a number of us thought that the system was going to crash because we thought people were going to go falling over each other and trying to beat the deadline. But I'm not sure that's what happened. Up to now, I don't even know how many people have declared. But the point that you are, pointing to, which Dr. Pearson is also making, you remember back in November, I think the president gave a 10-day ultimatum. I believe the same thing that informed the president not to enforce that ultimatum is the same thing that is obtaining. That people have indicated to him the logistical difficulties involved in people who are in hard to reach places to get. So I think the deadline or the ultimatum should have been graduated or staggered, not across the board to allow for those who are in difficult to reach places. But with that said, I don't even think the people who are within the same vicinity as the LACC, I don't think some of them have even gone to the office there. I don't know, but I know that the deadline is over. The president was supposed to dismiss these people. But what we hear them talk about is, repurposing the pay they should have got if they have worked. And so, I can't answer that question. I don't believe out of the 457 people who were on that list, if that is the final list, I don't believe, all of them have met, the requirement. And those people, what has happened to them? Have they remained suspended? Are they going to work? I have no idea because of the absence of a comprehensive report.
Let me just throw this in quickly. Let me just throw this in quickly. Anthony, if you look at the list of the non-compliant updated list, you will see that most of them are commissioners and county officials. For the most part of that list that it's pending, of county officials. Like district this and district that and commissioner, and it's people in the rural communities.
Yep.
So people
So they're robbing the poor people. They're robbing the poor people to that don't even have enough money that they've been paid already to cover their spending for their project. Again,
I do not actually accept this, justification. These are excuses. If you are a commissioner, if you accept the job, you should be able to do that. Look, we need to stop giving excuses here. All right. Even if it's in Grand Crew, you're supposed to declare your asset. You should declare your asset. There's no excuse whatsoever. All right. And the LACC should be able to also go to those people where they are. All right, for their assets to be declared. There is no excuse whatsoever in my judgment why second year of their administration and those by law supposed to declare their assets have not declared their assets and giving excuses that, well, they are hard to reach, the in Grand Crew, and well, the person is a commissioner. A commissioner should be an example. A city mayor should be an example. If that person cannot come to town because they are busy, let the LACC go there. The LACC has logical reason for releasing the list. There are individuals who have not declared their asset. But these very people come to Monrovia to collect their pay anyway. You want to tell me, since the government took over, going to 2 years now, they have not come to Monrovia to collect their checks? They have done so. If they wanted to declare their asset, they would. Oh, Liberians, we have to start making excuses.
So I tell you this, Anthony, I don't disagree with you, but let's be honest. And to address what you're saying, I would take us back to the simplest definition of equity. You put a sink in the bathroom, you know, and you have a 2 or 3 year old in the house. Yes, you put a sink in the bathroom for everyone, but you put a little stool for the young person to be able to reach the sink. That is equity. You provide a sink for everyone, but you provide, you give a hand up to those who are, because all fingers are not equal.
That's
so
true.
So for the sake of equity, I think the fact that some of our people live in remote Liberia, and we're all Liberians, we know the difficulties involved in accessing, you know, resources if you're far removed from Monrovia. Even people in places retro before you get to Kanweken or Kaloken or Hapo, you know, these people have difficulties. So I think for that reason, I think if you have staggered, you know, the Monrovia people, maybe give them the 30 days, and then, you know, the Kakata and Boma, you know, Banga people, maybe, I don't know, 35 days, but some form of equity. I think that would have addressed the concern that Dr. Pearson is raising. And so, yeah, I agree. I think that should have been done. But also, you do make a point, which is strive to take government out of Monrovia, and therefore we should make every part of Liberia functional. I mean, that's how it is here in this country. You drive from anywhere to anywhere you go, you have almost the same. You can go to you can do anything anywhere. You don't have to be in the capital.
Exactly. So I don't know if the LACC has offices in the counties.
That would be another
point. The declaration period. Maybe they should move people to the city. And
exactly.
They should even be able to go to the townships to meet the commissioners and give them the opportunity to declare their asset.
That would have been another way of ensuring equity by sending agents out there, you know, to go and meet those people halfway. That would have been another way.
It is my understanding that they are working towards decentralizing their offices, but again, it boils down to funding, Anthony. So to have the LACC send men out there, you recall we had one minister, one government official who took $600,000 to just do a field trip, come back to Monrovia, almost $1 million, you know, just on field trip doing nothing, you know. But the LACC is trying to juggle funding for salaries at the same time for investigation, for prosecution, and so there's a lot on their plate. I can understand. But like you're saying, there's no excuse for people not declaring the asset. I think it's the best way forward for Liberia. But like Mr. Nangwen is saying, when Josiah Joker gets appointed, he gets a new vehicle, he gets gas slip, he gets a scratch card. Of course, he can drive to LACC office and declare his asset. But maintaining or Mr. Sumo, who way behind Gov't, inside a very short town, his salary can even reach him on town. On time, the road to the access to his very short town is not even clear. He got to walk maybe 2, 3, 4 hours to get to where they can pick up car to start coming to Monrovia. All of those things are major challenges for the people. I think we just need to take government to the people, and like you said, make government more equitable for participation.
And the last issue I want us to talk about that is similar to this topic is the CSA boss. Is also taking action against human resource managers in the government who have failed to submit the attendance record of their various spending entities. All right. According to the CSA boss, it is required as a matter of policy for them to submit the attendance record of the agencies they represent as HR managers on the 10th of every month. And since the administration took over, most of these HR managers have failed to comply to this policy. As a result, the agency, the CSA, is withholding 10% of their income until they can comply to that policy.
Of the
And-
agency, of the HR's account.
Of the HR, thank you. Of the HR, not the agency. Thank you, Mr. Namwe. Gentlemen, do you think this is a good accountability mechanism? Some people don't see this as a good move on the part of the CSA through its Director General. Mr. Namwe, you go first. You think it's a good move?
Well, look, on the face of it, I think what the CSA Director is pushing for, which you are all aware of, but it's not being stated, is all of these ghost names that these people have on these agencies. I think he's trying to ensure that these people who are on the payroll are who they say they are. And so he's trying to clean up these ghost names, and he's using, the attendance records and all of that. As to whether there is a better way to ascertain what he's looking for, I'm not sure. I'm not an HR person, but on the face of it, I think is well intentioned. I don't understand why these people would not comply. I've heard other arguments Dr. Pearson and others have made that what it is they're addressing the symptoms of a much deeper problem. But I think I don't see any harm. I mean, especially that he's not harming the agency. He is addressing the responsible parties in these agencies. And so for non-performance, I think there should be consequences. And so I don't disagree with what he's trying to do.
Dr. Pearson, do you have a disagreement with the CSA's decision to withhold 10% of the HR managers for failing to submit attendance record to the CSA as required by the policy?
So, Mr. CA, I hate to come off as being seen as just wanting to be critical, but there are two things here for me with this whole CSA salary deduction stuff. It depends on leadership, right? So in leadership, there can be approaches to how you want to address systemic issues. The issue about Liberians accounting for attendance at work is not a yesterday thing that Josiah Joker just came and met there. This is an age-old situation. Now, let me say this and be on record. Does Josiah have a good motive in mind? I think so. Is his heart in the right place? I think so. Does he want to see improvement in the country when it comes to good work ethics? I think so. Does he want to account for value for money in terms of the time he put in, the work he put in, and then what you get out of it? I think so. But do I support his approach in how he's managing or leading this charge? I don't think so. I don't support that, and I'll tell you why. First of all, in the 21st century, relying on a physical hard copy in Labrador, call it copybook blue bag ledger for work in attendance and work out attendance from job is archaic. I think it's something that you would do if you were in somewhere in Timbuktu in the forest that got no vehicle going there, no car road going there. That's something you'll be doing in this 21st century in a country that has no civilization, right? The sheer fact that you want to think that in the culture of Liberia as it is right now, you can put a hard copy book down and say when you come to work, sign out, and you think that it's going to be efficient. I mean, it's ludicrous. But is the concept good? I think the concept is good. It's just that the method is archaic. I think we should, Josiah should graduate. If he wants to see sustainable progress, he should graduate and be more, instead of punitive, he should be more of a positive reinforcement to the workforce. For instance, we're moving digital with our attendance, right? We're putting time cards on the wall, and when you come to work, you have to tap your time card. For instance, I work in Liberia for over 20, 25, 30 years. I too have my own organization that I run in Liberia. I put hard copy down and say, "People come and sign," but it's an impossible task to do at this point in time, for especially the whole country, for the entire civil service. That's unimaginable. And the complications that come with that, CA, is just not trying to keep track of the ledger, the possibility of somebody will sign for their friend is a problem. The possibility of somebody will scratch out somebody's name, that's a problem. The possibility of somebody will tear 2 or 3 pages from that ledger is a problem. The possibility that somebody's in the field and they didn't come straight to the office because they had to pass to do something else and come back and then sign later on in the day to reconcile that is a problem. So there's so many things that could go wrong. Do we have the capacity to do check and balances in those kind of instances? I said no, because I've been there. So what am I saying then, Mr. CA? Listen, I think it's hard, it's in the right place. I think we should be innovative. I think we should be forward thinking. I think we should be thinking about sustainable ways of improving our country so that when Josiah is not there no more, the system is there and is able to run itself, you know. And I think that's what is missing right now.
And Dr. Pearson, the HR manager's responsibility is to collect the signing in record and submit it to the CSA. Whether someone signs in or not, whether someone shows up or not, their responsibility is to submit the record. If no employee show up to work, the policy is submit the record. And it being over a year, they are failing to do so. But you are saying, well, he should be teaching them and guiding them how to do it. How long? It should go 4 years before you start taking action against responsible or leaders at the agency when it comes to documenting attendance record.
I think the argument to be made here is not the intentions, like I said from the beginning. The HR staff at the Ministry of Finance, for instance, how many staff Ministry of Finance got between cleaners to security up to the general manager, the minister proper? You're talking about close to 500-600 staff in Finance Ministry alone. How you expect a physical ledger, a hard copy book sitting at the front entrance, and you know can effectively keep somebody attendance record? I mean, that is insanity to me in the 21st century. And I can guarantee you, not even the minister proper, not even Gov't himself will sign that ledger. You know, start with Gov't. Gov't will not sign that ledger. I've been there before.
Then that is the problem. If Gov't cannot sign that ledger, then he shouldn't be finance minister in the first place. If the cleaner cannot sign that ledger, this cleaner should not be there in the first place. Because, here's the thing. Just as you think a digital device where you use your fingerprint to clock in, they are all doing the same thing. To clock in, to document the attendance. It should not matter what method you're using. It is the fact that people understand the essence and significance of signing in. And the person charged with that responsibility, that role to ensure that individuals, when the sign in is documented, that person is not doing the job. To get excuse me because this is archaic, so let cut it loose. I don't buy it, because even if you bring the digital device, the same attitude, the same behavior, the same culture will be carried on there. All right. So I disagree with you, but let me hear from Mr. Namwe.
Look, I hear Dr. Pearson's argument, and I'll be honest with you. Even here in the States, I signed into work until maybe about 6-7 years ago, before my clocking in was digitized, and so it is a process. I mean, we're all Liberians. These things cost money, and I agree. I understand what he's saying. Josiah Jokai should push for a global digitized clocking in system in Liberia, but I don't think the money is there yet. And so, in the absence of that, they're making do with what is now. I will argue too that if these HR people found this to be an impossible task, I'm not sure if they complained about it. I think they agreed to this, that they would do it, except they're not doing it. And so that is a problem. It borders on defiance and insubordination. I don't know if I should say that, because I think Josiah is not a boss. But the point is, this is what you agreed to work with. Then make it work. So I don't think they.
Correction. Josiah is their boss. Josiah, the director of the CSA, is the HR manager of Liberia.
HR manager for the whole country.
He is the HR manager of the country. So any HR manager anywhere, he is their boss.
And I'm going to assume here, and I know I might be wrong, but given the way Josiah functions, I believe several training sessions have been conducted with these people how to find a way to streamline this bulky, archaic system and make it more functional. Otherwise, I don't think he'll be giving these ultimatums. And even then, a whole year, and you couldn't even get one in. I think that's crazy.
Yeah,
So I think yes, efforts should be made to simplify it and make it easier. But in the meantime, I think what they have, they should try to make it work. It appears to me that they are not even trying to make what they have work. I think that's where the problem is.
let me just take a 30 seconds here. Look, listen. If you read my book that talked about leadership, right? Just put Clarence Pearson in Google or in Amazon. It's going to come the 10 distinctives of leadership. One of the things the book talked about is how our entire leadership system in the world today is progressive in terms of how you think about leadership, how you think about supervising, how you think about managing. If you want to, in this 21st century, you want to still live as though in 1985 or 1970, I mean, you're not helping your people. The essence of work today is efficiency, effectiveness, and better use of the time. Even in the United States here, at one time I worked for Amazon at the corporate office in Phoenix, Arizona, where we just sit behind our computers and we manage 5 to 10 of their facilities across the U.S. Per day. You get assigned a number of these facilities. You got to manage them from human resource to productivity. And one of the things you learn in Kazim, in growth mindset, in continual learning thing is that you always want to find a way to make the work easier for your people. They should spend less time solving problems and more time working. So if you have an HR manager in Liberia who has to be sitting down every day running behind people, you sign you. I see you came soon, but you didn't sign. Go so come and sign, but you finish signing where somebody signed 8 o'clock, we're up there, and you sign here at 9. The person who signed last sign at 9:30, so your own signing should be at 8 because you say so. What time did you ready come? Justify what there is so much that go into that. Even with the electronic system, we have a whole call center that people have to call in. The volume of calls that go to that call center just to solve attendance issue. It's a whole department all by itself, not HR alone, but just to handle sign-in issue. So I think Josiah has his heart in the right place. I'm not critiquing him. What I'm saying to him is that listen, you have your heart in the right place. Somebody talk about money. If the lawmakers can get us $45,000 for one person for vehicle every now and then, every 3 years, what does it mean to improve our human resource system that makes it to function properly in Liberia? And if our legislator can be called from agriculture break to come for special session and get 1 point something million just in 2 days, 3 days, and what do we need to set up a proper HR system in our country that will make it work? We're backwards in Liberia. We have to gravitate to a sustainable and more productive country. That's what we're seeing. We're behind too far.
So my understanding is not that the HR officers around the country are not making the people to sign in. I think the problem is they're not submitting, they're not turning in whatever it is these people are signing. That's one. But look, I am trying to visualize here what needs to happen. You have to have electricity, then you have to have internet, and then there has to be data because these people are going to punch in. And I think what you're describing, Dr. Pearson, they go and clock in. And of course, they did, the signal is transmitted to CSA and they know who's clocking in at where and who is not. That would be the most simplified version of it. But we're talking about LACC that is 2 hours in and 22 hours out. I don't think all of these people have generators. So I'm trying to visualize here the practicability of what we are looking for. In the absence of that, I am saying if these people committed to the CSA director that, yes, I will submit my signing sheet on the 31st of every month, and they're not doing it, that is a problem. I think it's a problem. If it is not possible, then you should also make that known as, why you're not. But I don't think that is what we're discussing here.
Mr. Namwe, the CSA issue with these HR managers is not that why are the people not signing in? The CSA issue is, why are you not submitting the attendance list?
Exactly.
Whether they sign in or not, submit your
Whether they
list.
sign in or not, give me whatever you have.
And that is what they are not doing, except that the person wants to tell me the people are not submitting in list because they want everybody to sign in. All right, and that is not the case. The other point that he raised, why would they see the HR manager at this place, again, example of finance ministry, to be running behind everybody in every department and this, that? If you are an HR manager and you have to run behind people physically to do so, then you have a problem. You should not be at that job. Because when somebody is hired as HR manager, somehow you have to interact with the person. What policy did you put in place to ensure that people comply to signing in and signing out? What did you put into place? How are you communicating with these employees? Did you emphasize the essence of signing in and signing out? If you don't have anything in place, if nobody signed in at all the CSA is saying, my man, submit a list. When a zero attendant, submit it. And they can't do that, then I'm not sure how when you bring the digital system, because the time cloud that we see, the one I have among work, it has the web version of it. So the hardware, that device collects the data and transmit it, all right, to the web aspect of it. Now the HR manager sees that these people must be trained how to even use that. Now, just a man paper they put, right? You can't even document it in a ledger or maybe Excel if you can't submit it. When we come to that one, that's the one you even be able to do. We know people have issues with, Mr. Nambo mentioned the issue of electricity. That's a big problem. So Dr. Pearson, you said it right. Josiah Hart is in the right place, but you also said that, yeah, our government officials, legislators, who getting $1.5 million on just 2 days agriculture break, or when they call them back, they have to give them all they could set that money aside. Josiah, at one point, the testing center that they have, this is a true story. Full disclosure or being disclaimer, Josiah is a personal friend of mine. So most of the things that he does, I know. The testing center that the government of Liberia has as the CSA, Josiah got that by talking to people who contributed to how he built it. This is fact. But then the vice president of Liberia had to go there. He was able to negotiate with funding contribution for individuals. And then the negotiation was that the government of Liberia was going to pay that money back because the testing center was needed. You wanted it to be digitized. We have it today. So these are steps that he's taking. And I think, like you said, Dr. Pearson, his eye is in a good place. If these people cannot submit the report, they shouldn't be there. Josiah, even wasting time. If I were Josiah, their entire salary will be withheld and not even 10%. He's been so
close on that, Mr. Sid, there's one thing, and only one thing I would say. I think there is some kind of hanky-panky going on with ghost names, and I think Josiah knows what he's after. I think that's why he's going the way he is. That's the only thing I would say about that.
All right, Dr. Pearson, your final seconds on this.
Look. I think it's a landmine going the way Josiah Joker is going. So listen, nobody get me wrong out there. His heart is in the right place, but I think it's a landmine. Like I saw his circular. In fact, he said that people who didn't sign in the ledger would be prorated in terms of the salary, meaning people will be cut based upon the number of times that they did not show up for job. How do you evaluate the kinds of stuff? You know, I understand that some Liberians will be hesitant to challenge him because, you know, you can't, a Liberian will get a bossman attitude. You can't challenge the boss. You challenge the boss, you lose your job. And you can't take them nowhere. Liberia is not like United States where one of the employees will tell you, say, I challenge you. And when the HR say, that is my thing, say, okay, I take it to the ethics committee above the HR department. There's no ethics committee and all that kind of stuff. Then if you go to labor ministry, that for nothing, nobody going to listen to you. Josiah Joker will get his will, whether you like it or not. So there's a lot that go into editing those data.
For information, the CSA, I think it has a board
and appeal board
and appeal board. Yeah, they have it.
Those are formalities. The boys who got fired from MCC, how many times they cry on all the social media and everything, they never got heard. They were not even suspended, not given warning letter. They were suspended. They were just fired because they spoke by President Boycott. How do you account for that? The boy from Matthew, what the boy named Matthew from Yamplu, from Information Ministry, and you know, because he called out a boogers a scholarship scheme in the president's office. He was harassed until he sent in a resignation. You know, that's not a country that you can talk to people in power like that, Anthony. If I told you that I challenged you that I did come to work and you took up money from my pay, and then you cannot justify why you took that money from my pay because your crappy system did not do due diligence, you're not going to listen to me. If I talk too much, the next thing is say, don't come to the office tomorrow. I can cry blood. The police will flog me and pull me out of the building. That's the country we have. So I think it's hard is in the right place. You should think about the common people. I know you will not do that to Gov't. I know you will not do that to Giddings. I know you will not do that to Grace Bay. I know you will not do that to any of those high profile, even Mo Ali. I know you will not ask Mo Ali for signing letter if Mo Ali signed to enter office or left office and sign off. He will not ask them. He will go for the low-hanging fruit. He wants to make name for himself as he thinks he's working. I think we need to be careful, be more positive, reinforcing than punitive.
And you have a point there because President Bouaka did not declare his asset. He was in violation for about 3 to 4 months before declaring his asset. Mr. Josiah Joker, my friend, should go after the president, who did not declare his asset for about 3 months. And the president's salary should be withheld for the 3 months. He did not declare his asset. Then even the president himself, who is on board with this withholding of salary, himself is the biggest hypocrite. He's a bad example on this. I mean, how President Bouaka could do that? You were in violation. I see our friend Sam Wallow posting videos of President Bouaka declaring. We are not saying he did not declare his asset. We are saying he did it in violation. He was in violation about 3 months before he could declare his asset. We ran behind him in this place here. Even his son, what's his called? Or Daros Dillon expressed disappointment in President Bouaka for not declaring his asset. That is the fact, Sam Water, and you need to get that. So President Bouaka is not in any moral place to be on board with withholding salary of individuals who did not declare their asset. If anyone should be, it should be Josiah who declared his asset. It should be Emmanuel Uwe Yakpawlo who declared his asset before taking office. He should be in our moral place to do so. And now the president, this is hypocrisy on his part. And it's unfortunate that he now, finds some standing, but he's on a sinking sand. And I need to punch him in the face there intellectually. Gentlemen, let's go to the next issue here. The next issue.
I'm glad you qualified that so you don't become an Nerf Fadiga.
Yeah, I know, right? I can't punch the president off like right in the face. I would not do that, And by the way, he's my father. He's the father of the nation. So when I say punching, I meant intellectually. Ending deterrent from investigations and action against accused officials. Gentlemen, let me make this thing clearer for you, the debaters. We have seen investigations. Like the LACC released a laundry list of investigations that we carry on and so on and so forth. We see suspensions. We see people being dismissed. My question is that these investigations, these suspensions, firing of individuals, have these things serve any deterrent when it comes to accountability? Are these actions, these steps, deterring people from engaging into the abuse of power and corruption? Because almost every day, people are getting accused of corruption. LDEA, the Liberal Drugs Enforcement Agency, is at it again. There's another report. One of the officials there has written a letter. All right. This is the very place President Bouaka had to suspend 2 officials for engaging in behavior unbecoming of their statuses there. And now we have some people there, they almost want to get into it also. I really want to know, and they apologize too. I mean, gentlemen, are we getting the deterrent from these steps that have been taken by the government? I don't think so. Let me hear you. Dr. Pearson, you go first.
Hey, look, the LACC and integrated institutions in our country was a good idea when they were first thought about and envisioned coming out of the civil crisis, and we're trying to gain credibility with international communities during Ellen Johnson's time, former President Ellen time. And these institutions help us strongly to get debt relief and all of the kind of things, and to get us to be trusted with monies after we had a broken system because of the civil crisis. But over time, I think what we've done is that we have put these institutions on the ledge, on a, I want to speak well, like on a rope, right? It's like you have the dog in the yard to man the yard, but then you put the dog on a rope, on a chain. And because the dog is on a chain, even though it might be causing noise, it might be barking at any intruder, but it can do nothing than just bark. And the intruder will just come and pass the dog and go into the house and steal what he or she wants to steal, and walk out of the house with it, because the owner is not willing to let the dog loose. All right, so the dog is just there for formality. And I think that's what's happening to Liberia right now when it comes to these anti-graft institutions. We have them. They have. We think they have the teeth to bite, but they're on chains, And I think the president got them on chains, just by going after 10 new officers and officials of government. Those guys are all living in fear. They are operating in fear. Anybody wants to argue with me anything about the Elections Commission chair? President Barack has shown to her that he can dismiss her anytime he wants to dismiss her for cause, and he can trump up a cause whenever he can design. He can design it and just get her dismissed. So going to elections, my individual must win, or else I will come after you tomorrow. LTA is an example. Central Bank is an example. And now we're hearing the Senate and the legislature, the Senate is trying to question those guys that are operating outside of the 10 new law that President Barack put there without any confirmation. And we've concluded cases from past administrators. So these integrity institutions, they got good intentions, they got good laws backing them, but President Boyka has them on chains, Mr. C. They can bark, but they cannot bite.
They can bite. Oh no, they can bark, but they cannot bite. And only when they bite, then they will cut into the problem. But just making that noise, it can't call it. J. Victor Namwe, what do you make of what we are talking about here? I want to hear your debate. I want to hear your argument. President Bouacar, Sam Wallo is blowing the trumpet here. It's taking action. I read a post from my friend James and Laza. He said, President Bouacar is a president with no words but action. The men suspending people. The men firing people. Investigations are going on. He said, Bouacar is not baby. This is a president of action. And what have you to say? I think Laza has good argument here, because I can give you, a lot of people Mr. Bouacar suspended. Look at LTA. President Bouacar suspended almost the entire commissioners that were there and replaced them with his own. Dr. Pearson was talking about National Election Commission. He let David Eto Brown Lasana go, and he brought her by. I don't know what's going on with that. The LDEA, Faliga is gone, Krumah is gone. He replaced them all over the place. Central Bank, the Central Bank governor is gone. He replaced him with somebody of his choice. The Labrador Immigration Service, what's the guy named Steve Zacco is gone. It's been replaced. The man is all over the place. These are action, bold action from the president. What are you talking about? Are these things really cutting it here, Mr. Namwe?
So evidently they're not. First of all, let's talk about some of the areas of inaction. You mentioned the LTA. Mm-hmm. I mean, Abu Kamara is still there. I'm not sure if that's his first name, but he was a part of the group that was audited, for which the rest of the commission were removed. Not only is he still there, he was elevated, and he is running the place.
Yeah, he's the head.
He is the head. And then you come to internal affairs, Yomalin has all kinds of accusations against him, from sexual impropriety to financial impropriety. He is still there. Let Lassa tell me that is the president acting, And then you come to the Ministry of State, the NASCOP and the pre-inauguration vehicles, over $500,000, allegedly spent. Where is the action there? Let's talk about where the president has acted. He went to LCCC and removed Patrick Woolsey and the rest of them after hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars were reported missing. What did he do? He just removed them, and that's it. What about sending them to the LACC for prosecution? He didn't do that. He went to Ami Modad, $96,000 allegedly spent on vehicles. You just asked, Modad resigned and walked away. You talked about LDEA, took him almost 1 million months. The lineman said 5 months before he even took action. After Peters, who was there, told him, said, Mr. President, I tired acting, I won't leave. Before he even went and before he talked about, putting somebody there, and those people walked. Nothing, no consequence. What about Russell and Dennis and Nokal? He said she did and whatever she did. But where is the prosecution? If you're going to accuse these people and removing them, the prosecution has to follow. It is not sufficient to just suspend or remove these people. Restitution should be the final goal, and then it will be deterrent. But these people coming, I can come in government and loot, and I know I will get fired. I just loot enough, and then, I get fired and go and retire somewhere else. What about Emma Glasgow at Fisheries? What is the situation there? She has been removed for allegedly, alleged impropriety. And then what? Is that it? So, yeah, I think the people who are now intimidated by anything because they don't see, any stern consequences.
Mr. Namwe, I can help you with the Inspector General comments.
Thank you very much.
In Do Cooper Do.
Exactly. Who went to
the degree at LU and were investigated by LU. And it was announced that the last time I heard I think the secretary, the presidential press secretary saying this is not to the knowledge of the president. The president has no idea that this person was involved with this fraud at the nation's higher university.
And he's still
on the job.
He's on the payroll. Just like your guy has nothing to say about that too. What about but yeah, we're talking about deterrent, Mr. C. How will you be? Where is the intimidation if you were in government that would dissuade you? What will give you second thought? Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You go in there and plunder the national treasury, whatever you can get, you get it out. You work and you go and retire. And the government, the most they can do with you is suspend you and or fire you, but no prosecution. I think that is why the people are not feeling, they're not.
Has Morning Katan been audited or investigated because he's been the CEO of LACC?
Exactly.
The current
not only that, Mr. C, with all of the reported, concerns, he was running the board and running management. All of this happening, but the president waited until the sunset on his contract. The only thing that happened was it was not renewed. He waited until the sunset on his. He was not removed. So everything that was reported there, Captain is somewhere else enjoying it. So. I think if the prosecution is the end of this president's action when cases of impropriety are reported in government, I think that will serve as sufficient deterrent to would-be actors.
And that appears saying, I don't think LACC has an argument here. So look, when we're talking about deterrent, the president is a man of action. He listed a lot of people.
Look, I said the thing clearly. The president has the integrity institution like a dog on the lash, right? On the chin. He can release it when he want to release it. He go buy people and then hold it back in. From the GSC report to the LACC and whatever, he releases them when he wants to. People he doesn't want to get at, he doesn't get at them, and that does not deter crime. When it's like you have a military junta in the country with all of the militarism that is going on and all the manhandling of the population. When they can decide who they will go after and who they will not go after, that does not deter crime in any way, and that's what's happening right now. So President Boyka is claiming that he's fighting corruption, but he's doing it like Congressman say henge penge way. Grace Bay can be running your office and stealing, and it doesn't matter. And and so this is where we are. So until he gets serious, until we get serious about fighting corruption and going after corruption where we see it and how we see it, and let the evidence drive the fight, we are not going nowhere. Because I can tell you, Giddings will eat $22 million. He maybe eat $2 million from there and say, well, I'll go to the legislature and just say I'm sorry. And nobody will unleash the dog on me. The dog will bark, but on chin. And after 2 days, I go and eat more. Rainy season coming again. Nobody tell us how many million they're going to spend on the road again. They come in rainy season. We're watching, but we ain't getting nothing because we called now the first time. So the other budget now will be quiet. Nobody telling us how many million going on the mother road. And that's how it is.
Here, let's get to our Final topic here. This one, I really have interest in this topic. It borders on economics and freedom, freedom of movement. The Supreme Court rejects petition to halt government action against back riders in Monrovia. So the Liberian government, through the Liberian National Police, came up with a policy that will restrict motorbike riders. And motorbike riders we're talking about, those are, mostly young people who ride motorbike as a means of transportation. This is the only employment that they have. All right. And the government is saying, look, you can't go certain places in the city because of safety. So they're not allowing them to go to Central Monrovia, and they can stay in Nikrutan area, there where they belong. They can stay, they can stop to Freeport, there where they belong. They can stop to Red Lake, there where they belong. They can be in the community in Depot Road area, there where they belong. But when it comes to Central Monrovia, where the big boys can go and chill there, you don't belong here. Don't bring your motorbike here. But there are a lot of citizens who too have to go to Central Monrovia, and they depend on the motorbikes to get there because they don't have cars, and these motorbikes can get them easier and at a cheaper rate as well. And these bike riders, this is what they depend on to survive. They are making an argument that, look, we are contributing to the economy. This is the only employment we have. They are also saying, look, they even took their case to the ECOWAS delegation in Liberia that, look, this thing our government is doing is not fair to us. We are contributing to the economy. They want us to register these bikes. They want us to get insurance. They want us to get helmets. And they want us to stay in Nikrutan as only place we make money. Most of the people that work, they go to Central Monrovia. So when we are given the opportunity to take these people to Central Monrovia, that's the only way we make money. But if I stay in Nikrutan, the man coming from Douala going Central Nikrutan, the man need bike, that man want to walk. But if someone who is working has to get to Ministry of Education, I think I can make business. Then I can pay I can be able to register my motorbike. They are saying this is not fair because the Constitution gives them the right to freedom of movement. They say as citizens, they have the right to go any part of the country. But they are being restricted to go to Central Monrovia. They are also saying, look, are they telling us that we're not Liberians enough to go on Broad Street, to go on Center Street? That place, what can be there, the thing can be smelling. That place we should not even go. Mr. Namwe, this is their argument. And I'm in for their argument. And so this group, through a civil society organization called STEM, Mobile Molu, and people, they took the matter to the Supreme Court. They're trying to say, look, let Supreme Court remove this thing. This is not proper. They violate our rights, our freedom, and everything else. But the Supreme Court is saying, no, you're not qualified to go to Monrovia. This is something very debatable. Mr. Namwe, I want to hear your argument because these are the things you and others fought for, to have the freedom to move any part of the country. But this is not by riders.
Freedom to move, but with responsibility, Mr. C. And I agree with the Supreme Court on this one. I think what the bike riders should do is to sue the government or the National Police or Ministry of Justice to provide training to make their trade much safer and integrated into the economy. But to tell the government to stop regulating them, I think that's wrong. Whoever advised them, I think they were ill-advised. I think I agree with, I advocated for them here. I think they are a part of our economy now for the very reasons that you enumerated. First of all, it is an avenue for gainful employment for most of our young people. It's a revenue generating avenue also for some of the owners of the bike. And they also provide a service to our people. They go places that are difficult to reach by vehicles. So yes, they belong in the economy. But these guys, they operate these bikes like maniacs. And I think they cause a lot of harm too. And I think the government is within its means, is within reason to regulate, their movement. Now, what I said was, I think what the bike riders should be demanding of the government, and they should even go to court, is to compel the government to create avenues where they will also be able to operate within the markets, but in a safer way. Right now, the way they are operating, it is not safe. I think they need training, they need advice, they need guidance. All of those things the government could provide but the government is not. They're leaving everything on them, and if they are not operating safely, then they're being pushed out of the city limits and all of that. I think that is also wrong. But I agree with the court. I think they should go back and dialogue with the government and sort it out. But to issue an injunction on the government to tell them not to do that, no, I don't know if the rate of mandamment is the right rate, but they need to go and sue the government to find a way to make their operating in the city limit or in Liberia safe. That is the government responsibility, to provide training to them, to help them and make their trade much safer. That's how I see it.
So, Mr. Nambe, I don't understand the logic of the government here. You are saying your bike is safe in Nikru Town.
Right. Exactly.
It's safe for you to do business, to ride your bike in Clarendon. It is safe for you to ride your bike in Red Light. But Central Monrovia is not safe. Why?
One, Central Monrovia might be a little bit more popular than, say, Oro. I could be wrong here, but two.
Yeah, you are wrong. I disagree.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Central Monrovia is also the business district. That's where you have most businesses compared to what you have on, say, in Painesville or Oro or Nikru Town or Freeport. Mm-hmm. And so the business environment also needs the space. And and again, I'm not trying to justify for the government. I think you do have a point here. But my point is, if you want the bike riders to operate in a safe manner, I think that's what you should demand. But to banish them completely from one area to the other, I think I agree with you. It doesn't make sense. If they can ride in Nikru Town, they should be able to ride on Broad Street. I think what you need to do is to find a way to make it safe for them to do so.
I think the government run these people. The whole Monrovia is a slum. The young people, this is how they survive. The government is not providing any employment opportunity for the young people. They have found a way they know to make money and to survive. The economy is tough. The economy is stupid. They need to survive, to restrict the Liberian citizens that they cannot go to the commercial city. All right? Some kind of capital city you say you have, they can't go there. But Speaker Kuhn, so-called Speaker Kuhn can go there. And, but Tobago is right in Pepin is not qualified to go there. This is beyond my belief, and I disagree with that decision.
I agree. But I'm having a good time because I think I'm giving Mr. Wallow a headache tonight because he wants me to take a definitive position.
Yeah. I think you're doing a good job, and you're confusing a water tonight. He's latitude right now. Dr. Pearson, I think the bike riders have been treated unfairly here.
Mr. C, I think there are a few things of concern when it comes to the issue of the bike rider, and I will mention a couple of them. But I think on the overall, the bigger picture to me boils down again to a poor, very poor political leadership governance in our country. Come to think about it, right? Who wants to get into a business and don't situate the business to where the customers are readily available, where the business makes profit? Mm-hmm. It will be fool-headed for me to open a store in a community that is less populated. If I want to do a business, I want to do an assessment and know where the customers would meet and my business will intersect. And if Central Monrovia is a means of these guys earning the dollars for which they put their backs on the road, it makes sense for me that they will want to apply in the area that gave them the money. After all, like they are arguing, the government is not having it easy on them. These guys pay close to $300 in a very poor, the 8th poorest country in the world. They pay up to like $396 just to have their bag register, insurance, and if you include the safety PPE equipment, the safety equipment, it might be just taking them to close to $400-500, and that is annually. That is not something that you're talking about, for 5 years. That's annually. So these guys are not going to do business where they're going to lose. They want to do business where they can make profit. So I think that's the larger picture. Another part of the larger picture is the fact that the government should understand that Liberia is in a precarious situation where even the president have said that they are able to provide jobs for the young people. During the time of the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf administration, right after the war, with the absence of job, the crime rate was increasing very seriously. Joe Tate was having it very difficult, the police director at the time, to put the crime rate under control. But we realized that once the bikes became an opportunity for young people, the crime rate dropped with the availability of bikes for young people to make another forms of earnings. Now I'm getting information that the crime rate in Liberia is on the increase again. All right. And another part of this that I think the police make sense is that the number of accidents and the reckless riders that they have, and these guys vandalizing police booths. But that is not an excuse to have a blanket punishment against the entire industry of the motorbikes. You know, right. It doesn't make sense to me. I think it speaks to the larger issue of how we are imagining the future of Liberia. What stops the Liberian government from imagining alternative routes for motorcycles that want to go to Central Monrovia? What stops the central government from telling them these are the areas that you can fly, and if you want to get a bike in Central Monrovia, these are the locations you can go to pick up your bike and ride on that direction to go back to where you want to go to. For instance, we got the Jalastan back road. We got the UN Drive, which is another back road. All right. So what is the innovation? What is the critical thinking? That we got the new bridge, we got the old bridge. And you know, so both ways into town, there are alternative routes. So you can tell bike riders coming from Freeport to Central Monrovia, use the old bridge, go by way of you know, where they got the embassy along the beach side there to how do you call it, the hotel there. Use the Barrow UN Drive back road there to the embassy direction, and you got certain area you can stop your passenger, and you can take people from maybe Newport Street, and then you come back using the old bridge and go to across the bridge. And the same thing can go for Central Town. Why would they want to be hostile to a segment of the population who are making a living from the means that they can afford? I think it's senseless. I think it's lack of innovation. I think it's lack of forward thinking. I think it's not part of the growth mindset of the kind of leadership that Liberia needs. And answering with the court case, the court will rule based on law, Anthony. So the court will say the government has the right to make regulations, right? But the court should also be able to tell the government, you have the right to make regulations, but if your regulations impinges the well-being of the citizens and deprive them of their livelihood, then there's something wrong with the regulations, right? Then the courts can come into the defense of the citizens. So I'm not sure how they're balancing that out. And for me, I think it's a problem. And I foresee demonstration, I foresee tension in the country that we should be avoiding, because nobody wants to go invest in our country. No businessmen want to go invest in our country when there's a riot every day, there's a demonstration every day, there's a whole slew of young people who are disenchanted with the government, you know. And then President Buckeye is saying we want unity and peace, and you don't get you can't have your cake and eat it, you know. And that's the sad thing in Liberia right now. People are not thinking beyond their noses.
Look, Dr. Pearson, I disagree with the court decision. All the members on the bench, the judges themselves, these are people that have cars. It doesn't bother them. All right. They have income. They go to Central Monrovia. You know, you said it right that, look, who wants to do business and don't want to be where the customers are? You want to do business where you think business will be good for you, where business will be profitable. Look, we all know that about 90% of the workforce in Liberia, they work in Central Monrovia. One can make that argument because they work for government. All government ministries and agencies will be national, from Cinco to Central Monrovia. They're all there. These are working people who can afford to pay for a bike. So if the young people need to make money, they have to transport these individuals to town, and they are stopping them from doing that. And you know, and you said it right. These people are spending almost $400, all right, for regulation fees, registration, and this and that. $400. How much did young people are making in a year? More than likely $2,000 or so, or even $3,000. So if they are paying $400 to government, how do they get back that money? Majority of them don't even own these bags. These bags are owned by people and they have to pay them. So if they are not making money, how would they even be able to survive? For the government that knows that bulk of young citizens don't even have job to stop these people from, the point is, why are you stopping them from going to Central Monrovia? Is it about safety? If it is about safety that you fear that when they get to Central Monrovia, they will hit somebody, they can also hit somebody in Nicrutan. Or are you saying that those in Nicrutan, they're not human enough so they can hit them anyway? And that your well-to-do people who in Kosu sitting in the offices, you don't want them to be hit by these young people? Is that the argument here? Look, the governor of Liberia can bring the debate to me, I will defeat them flat. This is not logical. This is sheer foolishness and nonsense, because this is not about safety. They are violating the right of these young citizens, to move freely. You granted them permits to be able to ride motorbike as a means of transportation. It's an economic activity going on here, but you are restricting them. Are they restricting Lebanese people where to go do business? If a Lebanese man say, I want to go to a Grand Cru, will they stop that person? Of course, they will not do that. They will not do that. Are they even stopping the giant side trucks from plying any road in Monrovia? I don't think they're doing that. The last time trucks were plying and taking iron ore and bringing it to Freeport. I'm sure you people are aware. Damaged most of the roads. Where was the Liberian government that cares about safety? When it comes to the ordinary man in Liberia, then they have teeth to bite. This is unfortunate, and this is not right. This is a violation of the young people right, and the government should not be doing that. I am in serious disagreement with the court for not upholding what the young people pray for. They should have the right to go to Central Monrovia. What is Monrovia anyway? Where? Where they shouldn't go? Where? Broad Street? The place that has not even been taken care of? Central Street is polluted. There where they shouldn't carry the bag. Those bags are even watered than the very road in Central Monrovia. Those bags are watered than those roads. Those roads are not maintained in the first place. What are these people talking about? Anyway, you guys are the debaters, but sometimes, I'm a Liberian citizen. I got to join the debate. Give Victor, let me get your final argument on this.
Yeah, let me buttress your point about the safety equipment. I think this is where the government could also help, because I've heard some of the kids make the argument that they're charging us for all these things, and how do you expect us to generate money, to pay for all these things? I think they inspect whatever it is. But as a government, because there is strength in number, you're big, you can use your weight to negotiate discount on some of these things, But you should insist on the helmet, all these kind of things, safe gear. Then there is the training. I insist here. I believe the police academy should be able to conduct training sessions for these. If it is inspection or some kind of qualification, give them some kind of little training, additional training in addition to what they have. Because as it stands, I understand these people, you just need to get the money, go to the store, you buy your bike, you put it on the road, you start riding. I think there should be a little bit more than that. Just make sure, that they have the requisite training to understand and observe safety. I think this is really the concern here. Because look, I've seen these guys weave in and out of traffic. They're dangerous. Some of them, not all of them, but most of them, they drive very, very recklessly.
Mr. Namwe, I can't disagree with you. I've been there. If you're driving, those guys will even jump in front of your car.
Yep.
And they do that everywhere. So let's address the larger issue. It is not about where they go. It is about how they conduct themselves when they are in the street. Restricting them from not going certain parts does not solve the problem. If your protection goal here is to protect all Liberian citizens from harm, given the reckless way these guys drive, it should cut across the entire country. And not only in Central Monrovia. You want to tell me Central Monrovia is better than any other places? That's the argument here. That appears in your final argument.
Yeah, and I think there are other sides to the conversation, Mr. CA. Take for instance, how many people or how many Liberians are being negatively impacted by that decision. Take for instance, students. Some people can even get to work on time. Some people can get to the businesses on time. Some people have to walk the whole 9 yards to get to where they want to go to because there's no means of transport. Our country is not one of those that got multi transport means, like for example, trains and buses and taxis, and I see people try to make the argument that the bikes can cause traffic. No, we didn't even have bikes in Liberia running, and we still had traffic. I live in Liberia all the days of my life. When there were no bikes in Liberia, we still had traffic because our roads are pretty narrow. We did not build the roads in anticipation of the population we have there now. And we're still not building the current roads with that population in mind. It's mind-boggling, And I hear another argument, Anthony. I hear people saying because of the accidents and stuff like that, so the bikes making a lot of accidents. But how many accidents do we see with motor vehicles and with trucks? Very, 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 very disturbing accidents across the country every single other day. You see. So will the stop taxes from flying the highways because there's accident every other day? All right, between Monrovia and Banga, or Monrovia and Ganta, or Monrovia and Buchanan, because we have very terrible accidents happening there. So we'll stop commercial drivers from flying. That's true with the trucks and the cars. You cannot do that. And there are other measures we can take. And the last argument I think I hear people make, Anthony, is that they want the city to look decent. We're all back the city look decent. That's ludicrous. That's the dumbest argument I've heard. I go to New York every now and then. I see people riding back and motorbike and cycle and everything, all between the cars, deliver bikes and deliver this and scooters and stuff like that. I don't think that's a problem. We just have to find a way to build an integrated society, thinking with a modern day mindset in our full view. If we keep doing what we're doing, listen, Liberia will stay like this for the next 20, 25, 30 years, and would not make any improvement in our infrastructure development.
And our friend Sam Wallow, as always, is participating in this debate. I'm enjoying him. He said the policy was successful during Ellen Johnson's salute time. Sam Wallow might be out of touch.
Yeah, that's a lie, Anthony. I was living there. That's a lie.
Sam, you are out of touch. Ellen time, we didn't have that many bags in the country at that time. Bags were not the primary means of transportation at the time. So I disagree with you, saying that is not the case, my good friend.
Anthony, if I can just interject. Yeah. During Ellen's second term, there is this fallacy that people say bikes were not allowed in Central Monrovia. That's a lie. We did try to stop it, but it was not successful. Again, it went back to the same argument. Ellen understood the importance of the economic factor of prohibiting the young people from having an earnings that will go to school and help the kids to go to school. So we couldn't stop that. So that's a fallacy. The we administration came in to try to do the same. They couldn't even stop it. It was also an unsuccessful attempt.
And you see, if the accident, which is true, we've seen a lot of accident with these bikes. So with motor cars, the road going to Nima, for example. All right, we Prince Johnson. I think when Prince Johnson died, the family going to Nima, right? They had an accident. It's a family member. I think 1 or 2 persons got killed in an accident. We've seen report of accident almost on all of our roads. The one going to Grand Bassa County, for example, we've seen accidents. So it is not only with the motorbikes. They're trying to project this picture that only motorbikes are having accident and killing people. Motor cars are having accident killing people. So that argument is defeated. This put us on right. It is the right of this citizen to move everywhere. And what they're doing, they got to find a way. Look, the whole city is congested. That's Sam Wallow's argument. So when the whole city is congested, then no one should ride by everywhere. All right? But you can't say, Une Monrovia, you shouldn't go because Monserrato is congested. So don't go to Central Monrovia. Then that can be the argument. They shouldn't go to Negro Town too. Negro Town area got more population than Central Monrovia. Red Light area got more population than Central Monrovia, so they shouldn't even go to Red Light. If that is the argument, Sam,
Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact, Anthony. Yeah. That's a fact.
Yeah. So let's read the number here for those who want to participate. I hope Sam gonna to call and not using your finger to be tapping. Even though we appreciate that, Sam. We appreciate you. 605-313-6004, but sometimes we think you fake, Sam.
I think it's AI.
maybe that AI, one of the AI from the administration.
Same as with the UP Online Brigade.
The online brigade. Oh, somewhere the man say I'm part of the CDC government. If any government are held to their neck, that was the CDC government. I know maybe same water were not following us that time. Even to this day, some people tell me, but even my own boys in my house here, they say, but people, the way you after CDC, we don't see that way UP. I say that old man, gotta respect the paper and get it paper time. They say, but man, you couldn't get the CDC minute to breathe. And the CDC guys tell me the same thing. Say, man. One other guy even called Dennis and said, my man, I give that answering guy credit. I don't mean it to out of power. I said, Dennis, CDC defeated. He said, I shouldn't give me that credit. I don't deserve it. 605-313-6004 is the number to call. Enter the code 791-403 pound, and you will participate in this exciting debate that is bringing clarity to the issue so that national leaders can get deeper understanding and make decisions in the best interest of our nation, Liberia. Again, the number is posted in both Facebook and YouTube live feed. It's right here. I read it again, 605-313-6004. Enter the code 791-403. You can't miss it. Look in the live feed. It's there. I'm going to put it there again multiple times so that you can't have a difficult time of finding it. Let me see if we have a caller. Let me see, gentlemen, bear with me. Let me see if we have a caller. Of course we do, and that person is our own man, Elvis Morris. I'm sure he's enjoying the debate. Mr. Morris, it's all yours. Elvis Morris? Why I can't hear you? Elvis Morris, bear with me. Yeah, let me make adjustment. I don't know why this speaker is not connecting. Let's see here. Oh, it's not connecting for some reason, but let me just do it this way. Mr. Morris, you are loud. Go ahead. You are loud and clear, as you say. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying thank you to you and to the panelists. Sorry I couldn't make it on, but you guys have made a good showing of yourselves. I have to respectfully disagree with you on the issue of the bike.
Mm-hmm.
This matter, legally, the government have the right to do this, especially because this is in the commerce realm, mm-hmm. where these guys are doing business, and the commerce ministry is under the executive branch. And they're not restricting you if you're a pedestrian, or not a pedestrian, but a private citizen who is just riding their bike and not doing commerce. I'm sure there might be a stipulation that if you're using your bike to go to work and that's your means of transportation, I'm sure you're allowed to. But the government have the right to regulate commerce. And I think, like Sam Waller said, it is congested in that city. The government made this decision for a reason. Traffic, people know notoriously, during 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock rush hour time, is people spend hours, 8 hours, 6 hours in traffic to get home from Central Monrovia. So I think the government is well within their rights. The only downside for them is it may not be politically expedient for them, because these motorcyclists fervently supported them during the last elections, and this may change their mind. This may take away some of the the political goodwill that they gained with them over the years from the past CDC government, and this may go against them in the next election. But I think on the face of it, for those of us looking from outside, it makes sense. You have to regulate. We have to respect regulations in our country. Regulations save life, improve commerce, the atmosphere. So let the government regulate. And in 2 or 3 years, we will tell if it was the right decision, if they made it right, the right one. But anyone taking my call, I just want to give my take on that.
Evan Morris there, joining us from the great state of Minnesota. Mr. Morris, thanks for your contribution there. He's the only caller we have so far. I will bring in any other caller who will join the line. Gentlemen, I think we have dealt with the issues sufficiently and squarely to the satisfaction of Sam Waller, maybe except for the issue on the asset declaration thing. He still believes that the president deserves a credit. We are not stopping him from assigning credit to the president, but we just got to sharpen the contradiction. The president was way in violation way before he was made to declare his asset in a very shameful manner. But to the president credit, he was able to publish his asset, but he failed to compare his official to do so for about a year. And we are saying if he is taking action to withhold the salaries of this official, he should allow himself for his salaries to be withheld for the first 3 or 4 months that he did not declare his asset. Then that would be fair. But the way it is, that is not fair at all. All right, gentlemen, let me get your closing argument here. Let's start with you, Mr. Namwe. Your closing arguments.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sear, and thank you also, Dr. Pearson. Thanks also to our viewing audience and listening audience. It's been a great show tonight. We started with LACC. We are concerned with the pace at which they are moving. I'm not sure if the request or the call for a specialized what is going to give them the spunk that is necessary for them to move much faster. And I think we all agree here they need to be a little bit more transparent in their reporting. There's not much coming out of them, so we encourage them to do much better. We talked also about the CSA and the withholding of salaries. Mr. Jakai means well, but perhaps as Dr. Pearson and others will argue, he needs to, just like he did, I guess, to bring in funding for the testing. He needs to get out there and find a way to digitize how our people check in. That might be helpful to the process much more than what is. We all agree here that the government's handling of corruption and its anticipated or intended deterrence is not doing it right now. People don't feel afraid to do whatever they want in this government. They steal any day, anytime. And the most that can happen is to get dismissed, get suspended or dismissed. And so, people are not afraid. So this government needs to put a bite in their bark. I believe that's what Dr. Pearson said. And we think that will help much better. Elvis just came in to support some of the argument that I was making that, I think the Supreme Court is right to toss this case back to the bikers. They need to get in with the government and negotiate and push the government to do the right thing. But I didn't run to the Supreme Court and other than asking them to put a state order. I think that's not the right way to handle this. So we hope, the government themselves, they need to do a better job of accommodating these people. They're providing a much needed service for our people. I don't understand why they don't get that. These bikes go places that the roads are so deplorable, cars cannot go there. And when you and I were young, taxi used to put you right in front of your door, but that's not possible today. It's not. The taxis don't leave the main road, and the bikes will be the ones that will take you, to places. So they're needed. They're very necessary in our economy. But thank you very much. Before I hang it up, shameless plug here. We'll be on here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. We'll also be simulcasting on Care Radio in Monrovia at 2 p.m. Make it a date and join us. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Mr. Namo, you are right there. Focus on Liberia. Our partnership broadcast with Care Radio 95.9 is coming on tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. We will be live here, and we will also be live on the radio in Liberia. The topic is impact of U.S. aid cut to Liberia and government's response. Now that the U.S. government has cut the aid it has been sending to Liberia through the USAID, what is the Liberian government going to do to make up for the money that have been taken away? This is support money, by the way. What they're going to do? Our resident economist, Thomas Kane, he's an economist, very smart gentleman. He will be here to help us break this all down. And of course, our panelists, Dr. Clarence Pearson, Glendy, Ahmed, Dr. George Williams, and our own man, J. Victor Namwe, will also be here. You do not want to miss the very important broadcast. And Dr. Pearson, before you get to your closing, I also want to advertise another show that will be coming on here. This is coming on a Saturday, the 22nd, which is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our man, Dennis Jai, will be hosting Dr. Timothy Nevin. He's a historian. He will be discussing the topic political prisoners of Bela Yala 1910 to 1990. Timothy is a professor. He has been teaching, I believe, Cottington University, and he may have taught another university in Liberia. A professor and a historian. He will be sitting with our old man Dennis Baku Kenjuja, the man who was born on plantain leaf all the way in Dodo, Kensano County. Also, not forgetting, this program, marriage, God's way. Dennis Jai will be hosting Reverend Dr. Harry Cole on our program, Hello Pastor. You don't want to miss it on Sunday for you to get some religious education here. I hope to see when we will have somebody here talking about African spirituality. I'm tired of this your Christian thing here. This is where we waste our time. And those of you who are Christian, I'm telling you, you are in the wrong place, man. The way to go, you're an African, is African spirituality. The Westerners, they enslave our people, they beat them off, they molested them, and carried that Bible to us. And we took this thing and we putting it on our head, trying to stifle innovation. That's the debate I'm prepared to have any day. And now they are telling you, you can go with man, all that. Come on, man. Dr. Pearson, you should find time to come on Hello Pastor too and discuss the important topic,
I vehemently disagree with that analysis you gave just now about Christianity.
Man, you can come to the debate. Dennis can host that debate. I can come and debate you.
Before you come, let me say I'm so happy I'm giving Sam Waller running stormy tonight. He keeps complaining that I'm on the show.
Man, you're doing a good job tonight. You got Sam, man. Now, Pearson, you're closing, brother.
Sam, they call that balance analysis. But again, I want to say thank you, man. A great show tonight. I want to thank the Liberian people who viewing and following Sam and others. I didn't see Flumo tonight to come on my back. I think I defeated Flumo the last time. Again, a heavy punch. He couldn't come back, to defend himself today. But I mean, nice show. I think the government should rethink that whole decision about the bikers. I think it has economic impact on our people. It has some other social impact on our people, the ordinary citizens as well. So there's a need for reconsideration. I think the court only just did its job telling us that the government has the right to do regulations and other kind of thing. But I think there are times the court should be able to say, listen, I see your regulations, but if the regulations is detrimental to the well-being of the citizens, then of course those regulations got to be rechecked. Go back and plan well. I think that's what we should be doing sometimes too, telling them, look, go back and plan well. Because if I uphold your regulations, it's just going to hurt the ordinary people. So go back and plan well. I don't think this thing got to do with congestion. Without the bikes, the roads in Liberia are congested. So that's not an excuse. I don't think it has to do with safety because there are many trucks and motor vehicular accidents every single day in Liberia there. So that's not an excuse. And, either regulate or build better roads or have a better system in place to direct the traffic and stuff like that. Other than that, think us out of the backs, I would tell people punitive leadership is not the solution to any problem in the 21st century. It should be problem solving. You should have innovation. You got to be creative. Have to have a growth mindset to improve the country. And last but not the least, President Baka has our corruption commission, our PPCC on the lash. And, he holding the chain. He can only release the chain on who he wants to release it on. So some people can go and steal as much as they want to steal. When people can release a chain, nothing happens. So we have a strong integrated institutions in the country. They have back, but they don't have a bite. And so they can back all they want to back. They want to see bites. If we start seeing bites, then we praise him. Other than that, Sam Wodo can post all the MOUs he wants to post. Thank you. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Dr. Pearson, thank you. Ms. Nambwe, thank you. Both of you are solid educators. Our nation is blessed to have you. You graced the debate very graciously. I think our audience should be happy. You did justice to the topics. I hope I was able to moderate and also join the debate as well.
No, I was going to say thank you too for moderating. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, thank you. Our audience, we are always here because of you. We come here, we don't see you following and, disagreeing with us and also agreeing with all what necessary. We will not be here. Focus on Liberia. We educate, we elevate, and promote all things Liberia. This is about promoting and elevating what the nation Liberia is. Our nation is a great nation. It's just that our leaders are not there yet, and we want them to get it right. We hope the president will be able to wake up in terms of leadership. I think he's bunking, to use the Liberian term. I think the old man is bunking. He needs to wake up and do something. He told us that, the country needed to be rescued. I agree with him. That is the most solid argument he has ever made. The nation needs to be rescued. Whether or not he is doing that rescue mission or carrying on that rescue mission, that where I can say I disagree 100%. I don't see any rescue operation going on. What I see going on is business as usual. On that note, folks, the sun says we are all Liberians, and that sun is taking us home. Sam Wallow, thank you for coming to the debate. You lost the debate tonight, my friend. Come next time and do better. Bye-bye.
We are Liberians.